going to learn, and to be reminded at the end, this is, if you can avoid to use the same word describe again, yeah, describe what it means, explain what it means to describe. So you use a variety of words. Because if a person starts out not knowing what describe means, then it is a barrier for learning for him to hear this word describe all the time. He cannot progress because he cannot go past that problem that he doesn't know what describe means. So you use a word and then you explain what that word means, and then you can move on for him. So be very clear about what it is you're going to give in this lesson. I'm going to tell you, or you should be able to do this, this, and this. And it should not be a long list. Try to summarize what it is, because the detail comes then in your script where you explain. Okay.
As much as there is value in having a clear understanding of the terminology, I think it is important. But also I don't want us to spend too much dwelling on the terminology. I think there is more that we can get out of it. If there are differences in how the syllabuses the syllabus for specific subjects are compiled and how they've used the terminology, I would say it's better that those for that using that syllabus stick to what is there. Because I'm sure that in that meetings, also where I am at the curriculum panel, you spend hours in arguing really in terms of what to use. So if it is stipulated in the syllabus, let us stick to that, because that is the consensus that has been reached. And what we do in Notes Master is the syllabuses are loaded there. So when the teacher uses, they must go according to what is in that syllabus. So also when we do radio and video, I think let us stick to those terminologies as they are in the syllabus, so that we don't confuse the other users who are not here present, and then we come up with a different approach to it. So that is just in a nutshell how I would see it. But I think it is important for those in your syllabus that you understand what is a competency, what is a general objective, what is a specific objective, what is an outcome, etc., so that you apply it correctly.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we don't have to explain, of course, what is a competency and what, but it's important for us to know, us who are writing the script, to have that distinction. No. And in terms of terminology, that you mention something, if you're mentioning it in the outcome, you have to explain just briefly, as brief as possible, or give an example to make it clear. Okay. Christoph. It doesn't. It does not matter, because you are not mentioning it on the air. But because in the script you will say, I want you to be able to do this or know this or explain this. So you don't have that problem in the script writing. As long as you have the distinction what it is and where to get it. Yeah. So that you know where to get your outcomes, and you know why you want to teach this. Because you're not going to use either of those. You will not say the learning objectives for this is this and this. So when he is saying they spend hours to decide, this is the terminology to use, that's fine. But that's not the problem of the learner. The problem just needs, the learner just needs to know what you are wanting to teach him. So that's for you to give him. Yeah. Okay. Does it help?
From my side, I would say I will approach this as teacher, as content writer, subject expert. You are writing or scripting a lesson, a radio lesson. And for this lesson, you decide on what will be the outcome of this lesson. But we as educators, as teachers, you know, your outcome, you will base on your syllabus, learning objective or competency. I would then for myself, if I will now guide others, I will replace learning competencies and objectives with lesson outcome. This lesson, this is what the outcome should be. And I know that my outcome I based on the syllabus.
Yeah.
That's it. So then it's just this radio lesson. At the end of this lesson, learners should be able to write a blog. So learners should be able to know the features of a blog.
Yeah.
Tenses of a blog. Oh, I don't know now what is the things that you will say.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say here it is now. So that subject would be what? ITO. What that? Oh. Okay. So program might one might be writing a blog. Yes. Yeah. Writing a blog. Yeah, so it's now in English, and then, so the learning outcomes would be, should be able to show, to demonstrate. So this is where you also have to be clear. Do you want them to be able to do this, or do you want them to be able to tell you how to do it? Yeah. But on the radio, sometimes it will be very theoretical. So features of a blog, did you say? Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, but it helps to, yeah, to focus. Let's say purpose of a blog. Ah, yeah, man. Yeah, there, features of a blog. Purpose. Purposes of a blog. The features of a blog, and then something practical. Something practical? Give me something practical. So you know, this is why you do a blog. A blog consists of what and what and what. And now you want to give them something practical. How would you phrase such a question in an exam? To test whether they can actually write a blog. Because remember, your overall objective is to write a blog. Types of blog. Yeah, then you should have also told them features and types, yeah? Of blogs. So write a blog. But the thing is, a blog can be anything, but we know there's food blogs, and there's travel blogs, and there's technical blogs. So and the outcome is where you specify the parameters of what you can expect of them. So the purposes of a blog can be so wide. You are not going to teach all of it. You are just going to teach them the purposes, the features and types of blogs. So you can say there's a lot of types of blogs, and the main features that they all have in common is this and this and this. Then you cannot give them, yeah, that's the purpose. Why do people write blogs? That's the purpose. Okay? And then write a blog, it is also very wide. So you can specify here, write a general blog, or write a travel blog, or write something that is basic. Like a basic.
Can it be now a sort of like in a radio lesson?
Yeah.
Maybe like what will be the main key points? You have to write a traveler's blog.
Yeah.
What will be now the key ideas that you will put into this blog to make it interesting?
That's the features.
So now then the practical.
Yeah.
Is now maybe a conversation between two learners, or what, to tell one another.
So when you start, you say you have to find a way of showing the purposes. Are we back online? That's great. Okay. So so this is your learning outcome, for example. So the purposes of a blog. So you think, and this is where you have your draft script. Then you do better, you do better, you do better until it comes alive. Okay. So in the first draft, you list the purposes of the draft, of the blog. But that's not where you end. But start there. It's a good start. From there, you do the features and what. So this is like straight from a textbook. But that is not your final script. Now you go back and you say, okay, so if the purposes, how can I show with sound the purpose of a blog? So let's say, do you want to say something before I continue?
I think first,
Let's just wait for the...
I think first we will start with the structure of the blog before we can start with the purpose, the features.
Is it not the same as features?
Is the features? Okay, that is the features, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually what I want to say. The features is also important before they can write the blog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is important that it follows a logical flow, because as in the sequence that you have, the order in which you have the outcomes is the order in which you will execute it. So it has to be logical in terms of the learning. First you want to tell them the purpose, then you tell them the features, and then they have enough information to move on to how could you then do it. All right. So let's just think about the purpose of a blog. Let's say your purpose is, can you give us some purposes? Why do you do a blog? Okay, say something.
No, what I wanted to say, from my own perspective, of course, I would have started with, since blog is actually something brand new in our curricula, so I would rather start with the introduction of what exactly is a blog first.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is a blog? And then you come to the purpose of a blog before I get to the features. You know, first, now they know what is a blog, then I'll come to when does one write a blog, and then I show them how it is written. That's when I come to the different features, this particular type of style of writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that, yeah, that is a very good point. And it can be part of the purpose. So you start by having a blog being read or something. So you discuss, what is this?
Yeah.
And then the purpose. And the purpose is in the same discussion.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Because even if I don't read a blog per se,
Yeah.
I would want them to have a very clear understanding as to what is a blog, where do they find the blog, when or why are we writing blogs and so on, so that at least they have, so that we have a proper background as to what a blog exactly is,
Yeah.
where it can be found, and who are the writers of blogs and this type of thing, so that at least they know what a blog is, because I know it's something totally new to our land.
It is, and it's very important in that sense to tell what is a blog. And maybe you can say, what is a blog and what is its purpose, something like that. To knowledge of what a blog is and its purposes. Something like that? Because at the end of the day, you should be able to give them an exam that has those questions. You want them to explain what a blog is. You want them to give the knowledge of that and its purpose. So everything that you can expect from them is what you need to give them in the content.
So maybe I hear that you say you give an exam on that. So is it practical on air, then give them feedback or exam on? All right, thanks. My question was, Madam Moderator was saying, we should give an exam on that. So
Yeah.
meaning during the radio
Yeah.
program, we give them a practical
No.
activity, or how do we?
Okay, let me just distinguish.
Yes.
You want to prepare the learners to be able to show effective knowledge and skills about this competency. The competency is write a blog. You want to enable them to write a blog. How will you do that? You will do that by giving them manageable learning chunks to prepare them to be able to do that. In doing that, you are going to show and tell them what is a blog, what is its purpose, what are the features of and different types of blogs, and how to write it. So you are giving them that knowledge in the program. That is why whether you do it or the examiner does it, you will not do it, you don't have the time. But you have given them the knowledge that the examiner, based on their syllabus, the examiner will say, in your syllabus here, I see that you should be able to write a blog. Now, can you give me the basic features of a blog and write a basic travel blog of 200 words? That is what that learner should then be able to do, because you gave them the knowledge and skills for that in the program. That's what I mean by you should be able to give them an exam based on the outcomes. And that, again, is why it's important that you say, in this program, I will prepare you to do this, so that you can, in an exam, list the features, know the purpose, and write a basic blog. You are making that promise of what it is you're going to give him. And at the end of the program, you will remind him, if you have been listening, you should now be able to list the features of a blog, to explain the purposes, and to write a basic blog, travel blog of 200 words or what. So So that is the promise. Then you fulfill it, and then you list, this is what I have given you. So the outcomes in that sense is paramount importance. It's very important because that is where you focus the learning that you are going to give in this lesson. Do you want to say something, Christoph? You just back up. Okay. Does it help? Yeah. And as you're writing, make sure about the outcomes before you continue. Okay. So that you don't get lost, and if you are not focused, then everybody else will also get lost. Okay. I know it's very hard for you now to focus. Let's see. Okay, so learning outcomes, it must be in increasing order of complexity. It must present all the learning that is part of that objective. And that is why it has to be small in manageable bits. It must be presented in a logical flow. And as you have the flow in the beginning, that is how you have to have it in the program as well, because this person will remember that at the end we are going to actually do it, but we will first have the purpose. So in that order, he must be given the knowledge as well. But also the order of complexity. You cannot write a blog before explaining what a blog is. Okay, so order of complexity. So you will say something like, at the end of this lesson, learners should be able to explain the meaning of a market and marketing, explain how business identify and meet the needs of customers, list the objective of marketing. So what we see there as action words, should be able to explain, describe. So that gives you the level of complexity that you want there, okay? So describe, okay, describe, list, demonstrate. Okay. So there's also other words like explain. Yeah, what else do you use? Identify. Discuss. The explain and discuss are the same thing, right? So identify and list is also the same. Yeah? So this is where our NTA things come in. So on what level is your thing? So you describe, the basic one is list and identify. So identify is what is a blog. Identify and list the whatever, describe, and then explain sounds like a lot of detail. And in the end, you want to demonstrate. Sometimes it's not something you have to do, but you still have to demonstrate knowledge of. Okay. Yeah. So the lesson should give them all the tools needed to what they need to know and how to do what they need to do. So that's why I always keep back to, a competency means what you should be able to know, what to do, or show knowledge of. So it's all to do with actually something to do. Let's talk a little bit about experts. You have been thinking a little bit about the practical examples you will use. Where will you get experts? What is an expert? What's an expert? I feel you need energy. So, there's lots of little balls of energy here. What is an expert? What is an expert?
An expert is a
Thank you, Risto.
an expert is somebody that knows.
It's very soft.
I would say an expert is somebody that knows, that have a thorough knowledge of something, and you call him an expert. He's got experience, he's got the knowledge, yeah,
Yeah.
and he's trained in that area also.
Okay. It is, yeah. She's saying it's trained in that. It's true. He has excellent knowledge about something. Otherwise, we don't say expert. But there is experience, and then there is competency. Yeah. So some people know a lot about it. Some people have done it, even though they have not studied it. But they're still an expert. But there is also just the experience, which can also include life experience. Okay. So all of them are excellent experts for a script like that we are talking about. Okay. If you are talking about a bleeding toe, and you have ever had a bleeding toe, you are an expert in a bleeding toe, because you can describe it. You have been there. You can say exactly what's involved. Okay. So it doesn't have to mean that we only interview, the doctors and professors in this country, which we will very quickly exploit. So yeah, thank you. That is an expert. So, but also for our purposes, they don't have to be very high, as long as they say the information that we want them to say from a knowledgeable point of view, and preferably from experience, their own experience and knowledge. Okay, so we look at every learning outcome and we ask ourselves, what is the first thing we have to ask ourselves? We look at the learning outcome and we're asking, what? So we are now going to start writing these scripts. So you look at the outcome and you're asking, oh, you guys are really suffering. Let me give you one for free. Okay, you're fine. Yeah. The mic? Where is the mic at this point? Is it still with you?
Maybe you can ask yourself.
Have you had one?
No, I hate one.
No? No, this is the wake up.
Whoa.
The wake up call. Yeah, it's just a freebie to wake up. Okay, say something.
Oh, okay. First question to ask yourself is, who will be able to convey this message the way you want? So the actor or the narrator?
Okay, that is a good case. It is. We basically ask ourselves, why do we want the learner to know this? Why do we want the learner to tell us what a blog is? Why? Because otherwise they don't know what they're talking about. So, number one, why do we want the learner to know this? And then, so who's going to tell us that? Okay. Who is in a position to tell this? Okay. So write this there. let's say, why do we want the learner to know this, and how is this important in the real world? Who uses this? Okay. So those things then give you examples, and it gives you an expert. Okay.
Leonard, can I just come in? I just received a telephonic contribution
All right.
from one of the education officers, Mr. Savages from NIED. And I think what he said is also an answer partly to what you are asking.
Okay.
That he alerted us to the fact that the lesson outcome for the radio is not based on your learning objective, the specific
Yeah.
objective. But it needs to be in line with the assessment objectives in the syllabus. And that will be also a reason, an answer to why do you want learners to learn this?
Yeah.
Because it is based on the assessment objective. And it now add on to your explanation of the examination, the way that
Exactly.
you have done it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Savasis. Exactly. That's why I keep on saying exam. It's not us giving the exam, but we are equipping the learner to take an exam because we have, given him the skills and knowledge for that. Yeah, exactly. So we're looking at the learning outcome. We're asking why is it important for the learners to know this information, and if they know it, what will they be able to do? So it's always good if the last one is something practical that they would be able to do. So the answer to those questions should give us the examples and the activities that we can include. And if possible, if it's possible, and if there's time, then it's good to give some idea, some way for the learners to test their knowledge. So if you can work in a very short quiz, or one person just asking the other or something, maybe you have to toss up between using a summary and using a quiz. Because in a quiz, one can ask the other one, what did you say those features were again? I've got this one and this one, what's the other one? So as long as this can be quick and natural. Or in a summary, that's where you will need music to be played under the voice, and then you have to just effectively list this summary of the outcome. Because also, sometimes people enjoy so much the examples and the activities that you need to order it for them, how they have to remember it and give it back. Because I can hear them mixing these ingredients to make this mixture in chemistry. So you're saying now you add this, and then you add this, and then you add this, but maybe you need it reinforced in the outcome if it's important to list that mixture or say that formula or so. Okay. And so it's part of learning to evidence things. So you give the theory, you practice it, but actually it's a real thing of learning to evidence it, to test it. So if possible, you can work in something where they can show their knowledge with a quiz or so on. Yeah, and then the summary is important. The summary is painful because it's hard to listen to, so we have to be clever how we present it. Okay, but it is an educational program. Now, from now to lunchtime, please write the learning outcomes. Start with one script at a time. Look at your content. Look at the do words. Do you want them to describe, to list, to identify, to explain, to demonstrate? Take one script at a time and write the lesson outcomes for that. How do you get the lesson outcomes? You look at the content that you want to present and work back to what is the competency for that. So you want to explain them the features of blogs. So you say in the outcome, explain the features of, the general features of blogs. Okay. So did the online community miss out on something that I can be?
I think they missed out on when they cut out.
Okay, we can hear more words per minute than we can speak per minute. Listen to the radio lesson and comment on the tools used in the lesson. Outcomes. Okay, so if you need any help, please shout. But it would be wonderful if you could use this half hour in writing those outcomes, because they are the bone structure of your script. And it is what you will be assessed on. So it lists the expectation. We could maybe go to some to see over their shoulder what they're doing. Right? Where are your outcomes? What are you doing? No! You will struggle. No. When I'm no longer with you, then you will say, why did I not use and do at that time? I think the camera community also must be given energy. You have to. Do you have to? You didn't get one just before. You didn't. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Marsh, do you need energy? No? You don't need energy. Okay, let's see what they're doing. You can take it on your shoulder, then we follow these guys and put them on the spot. I'll go around this way. How far are you? Are you doing all 5 at the same time, or are you doing just one? Okay. How about you? Okay. 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 How are you doing? Have you got your syllabus here to work from? Which will you develop in the script writing? What do you have to write for? You're not a writer. Oh, okay. All right. Doel van toespraak. Inligting. Okay, so dit is die verskillende doelwitte. Okay, sê miskien net doelwitte, sodat jy indicate that it's more than one. Want dan list jy dit mos nou daar. Okay, so miskien om dit in die terminology te sit, en miskien sê beskryf die doelstellings van toesprake. Should be able to beskryf die doelstellings. Toesprake of een toespraak, toespraak, redevoering of hoe moet sê jy? Okay, toespraakvoering. Voering, okay. Verskillende tipe, okay. Tipes, okay, so beskryf of verduidelik, ja, miskien verduidelik tipes algemene tipes toesprake. Tipes toesprake en dan skryf 'n toespraak. Ja, dis baie wyd, né? So wat se tipe? Okay. So identifiseer, dan sit jy verduidelik. Identifiseer verskillende tipes taalgebruik vir toesprake. Tipes, ja. As daar verskillende tipes is, formeel, informeel, ja. Taalgebruik. Vir toesprake, kom ons sê. Ja. So vir hierdie toespraak gaan ek hierdie taal gebruik vir daai een. Okay, skryf, okay, maar dan moet jy die parameters identify van wat jy van hulle verwag. Skryf maar gaan jy altyd net 'n informele toespraak? Nee. So you must leave the option for the examiner to decide, because if you in your learning told them only an informal one, then you cannot expect a formal one in the exam. So okay, so skryf 'n basiese skryf 'n toespraak uit 'n gekose skryf 'n toespraak uit 'n jy moet basies sê formal, informal en wat nog? Neutral. Okay, en dis die 3 wat jy daar genoem het. Skryf 'n basiese toespraak uit 'n keuse van formeel, informeel of neutraal. So dan basies moet daai persoon iets van dit kan kies. Christoph, are you not writing? Okay. Als je weer sien 2. Je moet nog zitten en alles. Explain the meaning of the double entry system in relation to dual aspect of it's very long. Explain the meaning of the double entry system in relation to the dual aspect principle. There's accounting, eh?
I'm just planning when I group all 3 or maybe only 2. Because you explain the double entry system as
Yeah.
double entry system.
Yeah.
And maybe to the dual aspect principle. What aspect?
Okay, then start with, so the dual aspect is the broader one, isn't it? Is it?
Double entry
and then that's what I'm saying. So start with the duality. So you say, explain the dual aspect principle.
It from the syllabus as it is, I cannot change it again.
Oh, has it in that order? Double entry system in relation to the dual aspect principle. Okay. So in the content, maybe you explain the dual aspect principle first, and in order to then get to the meaning of the double entry system. Yeah. So maybe for yourself here, you can explain explain the duality of what. See, yeah. So that this is just for yourself, Mos. If you are able, no, you can't. You can't. Yeah. Okay. I think. I think if it's not in the what you call it, the syllabus, then you can't ask it, and they can't assess it. Yeah.
You have put this quite correct. Because first I can talk about what is duality aspect.
And then explain the entry system. Yeah. Yeah. So try to just make it shorter. Explain duality of what?
Before I make it very short,
Yeah.
the narrator
Mm.
comes on when you see saying
Yeah.
change the objective the other way. Because this is how you will be
Yes, I understand. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Explain the meaning of the entry system. Okay. You know what? Let's just take this out then. The meaning of. Let's try this. Explain the double entry system in relation to the, because it means still the same, but it's not so many words. It just, the understanding is still, the brain will still bring it together, but you're making the words fewer. So you're saying, explain the double entry system in relation to the dual aspect principle. Okay. Then in the learning, you will first go to the dual aspect principle, and then bring in your double entry system. Okay? Relate the accounting equation to the double entry system. So what I'm seeing is that your lesson title is something like the double entry system. Okay? Okay? So, and if you explain to somebody what is a double entry system, what would you say?
double entry system. In a transaction, we have two aspects. That's why we do relate to the duality. Because
Yeah.
where one account is different than the other.
Okay, so you start with that. That is duality, and then you explain double entry system. Okay, and I see now. I was going to say this. It's put it differently, but you cannot because it's accounting, and that is the terms they use. So let's leave it like that. It's the double entry system. So here. Oh, okay. Okay. We're not sure what, when we may have lost the online, but what we are doing now is, what we are discussing. Yeah, I'm going around to different people, and they are writing their learning outcomes. So each one is describing why he is identifying the outcomes that he's doing. And in this case, this is an accounting program. The lesson title is the double entry system. And so the learning outcomes in this case is explain the double entry system in relation to the dual aspect principle, then relate the accounting equation to the double entry system, and state the rules of double entry. But I wonder whether you can add something so that the outcome concludes, the last outcome is something they can do.
They can do, I don't think it's possible.
You only want them to have knowledge of what it is.
Yeah, what it is.
Okay?
And then maybe in program 2, then we can move on. Now, how do they can do it?
Okay. All right. So this is what they would have to do in assessment, to explain the double entry system in relation to dual aspect principle, relate the accounting equation to the double entry system, and state the rules of double entry.
That's all.
What I like about this is it makes it very clear that this lesson is about double entry. There's no confusion, and it flows from the one aspect to the next. So
Thank you very much. Thank you.
you're right. You've got your learning outcomes. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you're fine. Are you fine? You are in that language where I can't take. But you have it clear how to write the outcomes. Yeah. Okay, that's good. All right. How about you? What are you doing? Mm. The words. Okay. They're choosing the topics. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I know this is now the template
Yeah.
that we're gonna use. Now, for instance, like this, will it be also in our languages? Because at the end of the day, we're gonna send it to people who doesn't understand my language. Like for instance, the lesson outcomes and objectives and the, yeah. So
Okay.
also,
So you could, in that heading, you
Yeah.
could leave in English.
yeah. Should I
Okay.
leave it in English or should I translate?
I
also?
think if you want to say in brackets it in the other language, that's
Okay.
fine. But actually, this is not meant for the learners
Okay.
or for the
Well,
one who's reading it, and to help the ones who are going to look after it, look at it again. Maybe you can just say in brackets one word.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you have described what a blog is. Oh, that was for you.
Yeah, just for the example, so that I can, if I do my own, because
Yeah, okay,
I was
yeah.
trying to follow you.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make it easier for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You guys are fine here. Explain the term euphemisms. What is the name of the lesson? Use euphemisms. Maybe you can just say euphemisms in language. Don't say appropriately, because that is a, what do you call it, a term of competency. So everything has to be effective. You will not teach them something ineffective. So using euphemisms in language, let's say. Let's have a long word. Okay. In language, let's just look at the outcomes again. Yeah. Explain the term, euphemisms. Why do you have it in plural?
In a term.
Yeah, as a term we can have it, okay? Explain the term euphemism. Explain the, okay, can you have something else so you don't have to say explain again? Let's start with describe. Describe the term euphemism. Yeah? Yeah. Identify or describe the term euphemism. So that's on the simplest level. Then explain the importance of the use of euphemisms. Okay. Explain the importance of the use of euphemism. The use of euphemism. Let's take out importance. Just say, explain the use of euphemisms. Because you would not teach it if it was not important. Okay, so it's implied that it is important, and you can say it in the content that it is important. Why is it important? Right? But if you say, there are two things here. Explain the importance of euphemisms and explain the use of euphemisms. See what I'm saying? So are you explaining why it is important, or are you explaining when and how to use it? See what I'm saying? There's two things there. If you say, explain the importance of the use of euphemisms. I'm just helping you to focus. Are you saying, explain the importance of euphemisms? Or are you saying, explain the use?
Rather have the importance thereof.
Okay.
Not necessarily the use, but just the importance of euphemism.
Because, okay. And then while you're explaining the importance, then you can say it's important because it is used in this and this and this way. Okay. Then, identify euphemisms in sentences given. Yep, that's fine. And then explain the meanings of given euphemisms. Yeah, because there you are actually showing understanding.
They have to show understanding now by explaining.
Yeah, so do it in that language. Say because this is your final competency, so that's where you have to. They have to show that they can do. That's right.
The knowledge that they have gained.
That's right.
The way it was explained.
Okay, so let's change that. So learners should be able to demonstrate understanding of euphemisms can be very wide again. So of given or selected or basic or of a range of euphemisms, let's say. Because that implies that you are giving them a range of euphemisms, and that's what they have to know. You cannot ask them some very complicated euphemism and they don't know that. So you will tell them these are the euphemisms you have to know. So you will select among a range of euphemisms that you've taught them, or that's in the curriculum. Okay? So understanding of a range of euphemisms, which implies you are giving them that range. Show understanding of. What is your problem with of? Oh, I see. Show understanding of a range.
By explaining, they show understanding. They explain.
No, but to explain, but then they have to show the understanding. But they have already described what an euphemism is, and they have explained the use. They have identified the euphemisms in sentences given. So now so they've identified the euphemisms in the sentence given. So now they have to show. Yes. So, but I thought you meant you give them sentences. No, I thought you give them sentences, and the sentence says, let me try to think of an euphemism now. Let's say, sorry, say again?
Blue chunks all over the place after the party.
In blue chunks. Oh, okay. So, meaning, you give that sentence, and they have to identify that the euphemism in that is blue chunks all over the place.
Not necessarily the meaning of.
No, that the party is not part of the euphemism. The actual euphemism that they've identified is blue chunks all over the place. That's how they've identified it. But then show understanding of the euphemism is then to explain that blue chunks all over the place means vomit. Yeah. So that's the difference. So identify the euphemism in a sentence means they look at the sentence and they can see this phrase is the euphemism. And then to explain its meaning is then different.
Yeah, that's
okay.
different, because
So
now I expect them to explain. To
okay.
show that
So
they
why
understand
don't
what the thing means.
yes? So let's then combine them. Identify and show understanding of the meaning of euphemisms in a range of sentences. And show understanding of the meaning of euphemisms in a range of sentences. So that range again implies that you are giving them a range which they have to know.
Die sekere lesse, dit moeilik om net een persoon te hê.
Ja,
As jy vir hulle inligting wil gee,
as jy activities het.
kyk as jy byvoorbeeld kom ek sê dis netwerk. Dit is moeilik om as jy 'n klomp karakters werk, soms voel jy sal hulle deur mekaar maak. So jy wil mos maar net hulle die basics die wat moet hulle doen. Of soos byvoorbeeld om 'n cartoon te interpret. As dit moontlik om net een persoon in die skrip te hê of kijk, sommige lessen zijn maar makkelijker om meer dan één karakter te hebben, maar die zeker is, je wil net dat die inlichting geven zodat je dat kan toepassen.
Maar
ik weet dat is nog niet zo, ik kan misschien...
Nou, kijk, soos as jy praat van cartoon, at least play a cartoon of iets.
Ja, kijk, hulle moet het nou interpret.
Ja.
Die gee nou in general net hulle information hoe moet hulle dit doen.
Ja, nee, maar jy moet examples hê. Dit moet, want cartoon is 'n baie fun ding.
Ja, maar het is wel moeilijk om vir hulle te interpreteren. As jy nou net die basics vir hulle wil gee. Hoe om dit te interpreteren.
Ek dink aan hierdie wat noem jy dit daai goed wat hulle deesdae het in Afrikaans. Sê nou maar soos 'n swart skaap.
Okay.
Daai tipe goed.
Okay.
As jy so iets kan gebruik. Waar die een ou sê hoekom is daai skaap swart? En die ander een kan sê want niemand hou van hom nie of wat ook al. So iets so dit so die moeite werd om te probeer om daai goed in te bring as jy enigsins kan. Okay. Sorry?
1:00.
Okay. It's lunchtime. I see you back here at 2. Yeah.